Hey, welcome in.
Welcome to the Arrowhead Addict podcast.
We are here coming to you live.
Let me tell you, the dopamine, it's flowing.
I am damn excited. Damn excited.
That's a terrible drum roll.
Oh! Boy, how you doing, man? Patrick.
Will Sterling.
Yeah.
Super Bowl champion, two-time Pro Bowler, and Trent Green. Trent Green, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
He picked it up! He picked it up! He's gonna
And we'll see you next week. But until then, as always, go Chiefs. Welcome into the Arrowhead Addict podcast. It is Thursday. That means it is the OG hour. Patrick Allen here with the blog father, Adam Best. Adam, we're 1 week away, man. The draft is almost here. This time next week we will be gearing up for a long night, of which the Chiefs unfortunately pick next to last.
They do. So it's a long wait, but who better to wait with than friends, than fellow addicts? Last year it was a lot of fun. We had me, you, Price Carter, Sterling Holmes, and kind of rotating guests, group of guests from the site and elsewhere. And it was a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to it again. I don't know about you, but I've just been super busy with moving this year and everything else. Last year, the last 2 years, I felt super prepared for both of those classes.
Yeah. This
year, I feel a little behind. So there's going to be a lot of cramming this week.
Yeah, it's hard to go as deep as you want to go. It always is for me, because the Arrowhead Addict podcast is just a very, very small part of my job here at Fansided. And so I often don't have as much time to do the study. That's why we've got Price to set us straight on this stuff. But thank goodness for the PFF mock draft simulator. You can go 7 deep. And what I like about that is it just allows you to explore players that might be available. They have write-ups on them. They have grades on them. So you're able to get quite a bit of cramming done by just doing that. And of course, nobody can predict everything and nobody can be an expert in everything, but that, and I recommend to everybody who's trying to bone up, go to NFL.com and their draft tracker prospect profiles on all the guys. They have ratings on everybody, scores, and even highlights that you can dive into. And if you kind of want to get an idea of who these guys are, but let's be honest, there's probably going to be some guys that get called in the 4th round on Thursday or Saturday next week that you're just like, who is that? I don't know who that guy is.
One recommendation for that is over at The Athletic, Dane Brugler's Beast. He goes into, actually 2 recommendations. He goes into a shit ton of prospects. And then also Thor Nystrom at Fantasy Life is kind of emerging as someone who goes deep. And he's a KU guy. So local ties. I think his big board has like 500 prospects, which is just, it's unreal the depth these guys go into. I don't know when they sleep, right?
Yeah. I mean, they work on it all year, right? So there's hundreds of players and they put a lot of time and effort and film study into it, both during the college football season and of course now. So it's a whole industry. And I think we're all thankful as NFL fans for the draft people, the people that are grinding tape, and then we show up, 2 months ago and start trying to weigh in and have opinions. We got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be talking about Brett Veach. He did his pre-draft press conference, which he does every year. There were a lot of insightful things in there. So we're going to do read his quotes to you and react to those. And we'll talk a little bit about the draft. And then we have a really special and important announcement at the end of the show. So you need to make sure you hang back after we do our movie rankings for that. It's very important and it affects the channel and all that stuff. So make sure you stick around to check it out. But this is good news, exciting news. And it's not that I'm quitting. So I know you guys would like to get me out of here. All right, let's dive in a little bit to this stuff. Before we do, we want to let you know that we are trying to get reviews over on Apple Podcasts. We haven't gotten any in a couple of weeks. We'd love it if you guys have never left us a review. Head on over there, leave us a 5-star review, ask us a question, and we will answer it here on the show. We're going to try to get to Yeah, screw it. Let's try to get to 500 reviews by the end of next season on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate y'all. Quick news hit. This was an interesting one, Adam. L'Jarius Sneed. So he's in a little bit of hot water right now. I don't know all the details, but he's allegedly involved in an incident, assault with a deadly weapon charge. That sounds really scary. So that's got to get itself worked out. He also dealt with injuries in Tennessee last year. And Albert Breer over at SI.com was talking about, he said, I'm just going to read you what he said. He said, how the Tennessee Titans handle L'Jarius Sneed will be interesting since new GM Mike Borgonzi was actually part of trading him away from the Kansas City Chiefs a year ago. Kansas City, for the record, really liked him, but was nervous about his bulky knee. I bet they'd bring him back if the Titans end up cutting him. And it's just, I want your take on if you think the Chiefs should or would bring him back, should he get cut? And two, is this not like this situation is the most Patriots dynasty move ever? If that were to come to fruition, guy has an unbelievable season, wants a huge contract. They trade him away for a pretty decent draft pick. He goes to the other place, fails spectacularly, gets cut, and then comes back to New England and they get him back for very cheap. And then his play improves. That's probably what would happen here and would be the most Patriots move ever. But what's your take?
Well, first of all, it's not good. It's not good that whatever he's involved in, right? And it also happened in Texas. I'm to the point where, like, can we keep Chiefs players away or former Chiefs players away from the state of Texas? Texas. What's going on down there? And you're right. This is very Bill Belichickian for a guy to really exceed even the wildest expectations in a certain culture with the safety net of one of the best franchises in sports to leave, to kind of fly the coop and sort of not do very well. And health was certainly a part of that. But I think system and scheme, when he did play, he just did not look as good. But if the price is right, if he's a cap casualty and the Chiefs can get him on the cheap on a 1-year prove it deal, and L'Jarius says, man, I'm in some legal hot water. My star is fading. I got to go back to Kansas City where I know I fit in and prove it so I can make some money next offseason. I think his agent would probably recommend that. We all know he works well with defensive backs coach Dave Merritt and defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo, and also just would be with Justin Reed leaving. I like Mike Edwards, but I think they could use another vet back there for communication purposes. Not that Trent McDuffie isn't becoming a trusted vet in his own right. So I'd be all for it. I mean, the knee is the knee, but at a Dollar Tree price, who cares?
Yeah, and you wouldn't be bringing him back to be the L'Jarius Sneed that he was before he left with that amount of responsibility, or even what the Titans were hoping they were getting when they traded for him and the contract and all that stuff. So you'd be bringing him in as like, all right, man, like, we're going to take a flyer, bring you back. If it doesn't work out, you get suspended or something. Our eggs aren't all in your basket. Our money's not all in your basket. And I think you're right. It would be a prove it deal for him to sort of like, can he navigate those waters, show he could stay healthy for another season and try to get one more big bite of the apple. We'll see how that all plays out. The whole legal stuff is dicey, and that's the most important thing right now. Okay. On to Veach. So Jalen Moore, a lot of talk about Jalen Moore. I think a lot of Chiefs fans are skeptical. Is this going to work out? Should we still try to get a tackle in the draft? This guy's never been a full-time starter. Here's what Brett Veach had to say on the Jalen Moore signing. He said, when you consider the fact that he played behind a first ballot Hall of Famer player in Trent Williams, I think it's hilarious, by the way, that he said that, because that's what pro this move Chiefs fans have been saying for weeks now. You can see why. But he's athletic. He's a smart kid. And we did a lot of work on him during the 2021 pre-draft process years ago. Always had taken a liking to the kid. I thought he had a game that translates, and credit to him that when he had the chance to go out there and log 6 or 7 starts last year, he did a really good job. Now the next step is maintaining that level of play throughout the course and duration of a season. But again, we're super excited to add him and hopefully provide some stability to the left side of the line. He said it's no surprise they want stability there. I mean, what does that tell you? I don't know what else he would say, right? But do you feel a little bit better after hearing Brett Veach talk about him, as if he thinks, hey man, this guy's good. He's just behind a Hall of Famer guy.
I feel a lot better. It feels like to me, Brett Veach is looking at the way Andy Heck and Andy Reid develop drafted tackles. Sterling and I have been on one about this for a few weeks now. They just don't do a good job with rookie offensive tackles. I don't know what it is. They do a good job with a lot of other things. That is kind of their Achilles heel. But if you take a young-ish player that you liked in the draft and you let another franchise develop him for 3 or 4 years and see enough from him that he's probably going to be a good player, you just kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like adopting a 4-year-old, is a great kid or something, instead of having to raise the baby yourself and being terrified of doing that. So I think that's kind of what Veach is doing. He's trying to have his cake and eat it too. He's trying to find a young enough player that the Chiefs can potentially stick with their left tackle of the future. That deal has some flexibility. They can get out of it. But if he comes in and is rock solid, they could also extend him. But also I think he's trying not to get off this like project tackle in the draft carousel that has been a nightmare for the franchise, frankly.
He's just enacting the Carl Peterson quarterback playbook. Just get San Francisco's backups. Look, I mean, it very well could work out. If it can work out, if he can elevate his play above what the Chiefs had last year, that's a start. It buys them more time. If he can develop further than that and actually become a fixture there on the left side, even better. But hopefully he buys them a little bit of time. But I wouldn't be surprised after last year if Brett Veach pulls out all the stops and still tries to get somebody in this draft and just keeps adding. We'll have to see how it goes, but it's encouraging. All right, let's talk Christian Fulton. Here's what Veach had to say on that move. Very similar situation. He said, Christian was a guy we liked coming out as well. He was right there, and I think he went a few picks before. I think we ended up selecting Willie Gay, but a guy we did a lot of work on and liked that. So, this is a situation we were just talking about, L'Jarius Sneed, where these guys, they like guys. I think maybe there was interest in Kadarius Toney too when he came out. They don't forget. And sometimes they see these guys go to different teams and, maybe they end up being a better scheme fit for the Chiefs. How do you see this one?
He's a good player. The injuries are definitely a concern. And that kind of overlaps concerns with Jalen Watson, who really has had some injuries plague him throughout his tenure in Kansas City. So I think it's good that they have the both of them and they go into the draft without like an urgent hole at cornerback. But I still really would like to see them take a corner. If one falls, if there's a great value on the board and you're sitting in late round 2 and you're like, man, this guy is a top 40 player. Why is he on the board? Or even if you're at 31 and you say, oh, we have I don't know if it'd be Will Johnson or who it would be, but we actually have a first round grade on this corner. Because Veach said he only has 12 or 13 first round grades. So I know we're going to talk about, that later. But I think they have flexibility here. If they don't get a corner until round 7, even with the way Dave Merritt and Steve Spagnuolo can sometimes churn out those unheralded gems, they're fine.
Yeah. And look, they may have to take somebody. And if it's not one of the guys they have a first round grade on, and you can't make somebody trade back with you to give you extra assets. So Slam and Sammy Joe in the chat says, we only have so many picks, need to decide what can wait another year. Do you feel more confident in Moore or Kingsley on the line? Sammy, I don't feel confident in either of those guys. They both played poorly. I have no idea what Wanye would look like as right tackle over the long term. I have no idea what Kingsley.
I think he's asking about Moore, not Morris.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Good call out. I'm not confident in Morris either. Moore, I think Moore played in a different system with a different quarterback, a different line, all that stuff. He played better than Kingsley last year by a lot in the action that he saw. So in that, yes, I'm more confident in him. And I agree with you. We only have so many picks. The way I would approach it if I were Brett Veach, though, is what can sink me? Okay. Having no receivers. What happened when we had no receivers? We won the Super Bowl. Right? What happened when our defense was below average? We won the Super Bowl. What happened when we couldn't protect Patrick Mahomes? We lost 2 Super Bowls. Still got to the Super Bowl. So if I'm the Chiefs, I really think the only thing that can stop this team with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid is the offensive line. They can find a way to make almost anything work. We know because we've literally seen it. So short of them having the worst defense in the league or something catastrophic happen, you want to project for the future and stuff. But if there's a guy you think can help you, double, triple, quadruple down on the offensive line situation, because that's the Achilles heel of the team. It's the only one that exists as far as I can tell.
Just playing devil's advocate here, because I kind of hate this offensive line class. If you're Brett Veach and Andy Reid, you have a luxury, I would say, outside of like Les Sneed in LA, Eric DaCosta in Baltimore, Brandon Beane in Buffalo. I'm just trying to think. Howie Roseman in Philly. Like those kinds of guys, there's a class of, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys that actually have job security and aren't just thinking about next year primarily, and maybe even 2 years at a maximum. You have the advantage to go best player available and pick somebody that other teams passed up because they can't wait. Like maybe Josh Simmons, the one tackle I kind of do like in the first round, because of his health, slides to 31. And the Chiefs are like, even if he can't really get on the field for us this year, if he's going to be totally healthy the following season, and we think he has a chance to be a good starting left tackle, we're gonna do that because we're the Chiefs and we don't have to make panic moves. We can let the draft come to us instead of forcing things.
Yeah, unless you believe. And like if they believe that he's the guy, I'd go up and get him. That's how strongly I just feel about it. Like I don't care about draft picks. I think they can overcome it. You don't want to be foolish, and you definitely don't want to be desperate. When teams get desperate and make desperation moves, that's when they get into a lot of trouble. So it's like when they traded up for Mahomes, right? Like people thought your own brother hated the move at the time. He's since deleted.
Just throwing him under the bus, man.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. I got to keep
that
him
Connor
on, so
hated
he's my
it too,
boss.
you know?
Yeah. But they moved up, and it was because they felt confident that was their guy, and they knew it was their guy, and they didn't care about giving up what they gave up. Oh, we give a first round pick next year. Who cares, man? You've got more Super Bowls than the first round picks you gave up to get Patrick Mahomes. I'd say that's a win. So you can't make desperation moves. And if you do something like that, you got to be right. Let's talk about Elijah Mitchell now. Here's what Veach said about Elijah Mitchell. He said, we like Mitchell. He's still young, and he's also battled a lot of injuries. We've always liked the tape. We've always liked the person. Great kid, similar skill set in a sense. He's explosive. He has great hands. I'm sure you've even heard Kyle Shanahan talk about how when he's healthy, how good he is. It's no secret that we need him to stay healthy. He says he'll have to go through training camp and get through the season healthy. But our trainers like what they saw in regards to his rehab and his injury last season. So hopefully we can get him on the field, keep him on the field, because I think when he's healthy, he provides an explosive dynamic in both the run and pass game. Kind of makes it sound like, I'm not saying they won't still take a running back in the draft, but it kind of makes it sound like they're, like, hey man, like we really think this guy, if he's out there, could make a big difference for us.
The key is if he's out there, because he just hasn't been able to be out there for years. He is a dynamic player. They're right. And I'm guessing when he said similar skill set, in a sense, he was talking about Jerick McKinnon, who also came from San Francisco. Is that who he was referring to?
That's
there?
right. Yeah. He started talking about Jerick McKinnon.
Now, as a receiver, Jerick McKinnon was much more proven. With Elijah Mitchell, it's more of a projection because we just haven't seen them use him like that as much. Of course, Christian McCaffrey has been in San Francisco, so there's not a lot of running back receiving work to go around. And it kind of similar to Trent Williams, you know, when you have the best player arguably at your position and you're behind him, it kind of caps what you can show and what you can do. But he's a really good player. He brings the speed that they desperately missed last year. If we're going to talk about these offensive line woes, one of the things that gets left out a lot is fear of the running game. And with last year, when other opposing teams were looking at the foursome of Pacheco, Steele, P. Ryan, and Hunt, they're like, these guys can't hurt us. They can keep moving the chains. They can keep our defense on the field, but there's no way in hell any of these guys are going to rip off a 40-yard catch or a 40-yard run and break our backs. So we're going to dare the Chiefs to kind of beat us with those guys, and we're confident that we can just rush forward and still handle their running game. And they were right. They were right. I mean, in the Super Bowl, Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator for the Eagles, he just had zero respect for the Chiefs rushing attack. So I think having a home run player like this is crucial. But I also heard Veach say that this is the deepest running back class in memory. I think hedging their bet on Elijah Mitchell and getting another home run threat, another kind of like Jerick McKinnon-esque player, it doesn't have to be Travion Henderson early. It can be, there are guys I like in the 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round, 6th round. They can just wait and play this game of running back musical chairs. See who's left. That's kind of where I'm at.
If the Chiefs had a 1st round grade on, like, let's say Travion Henderson, and he's there when they pick, and they don't have anybody else on their board with a 1st round grade, but they're good players, they have 2nd round grades on at the end of the 1st round, what would you want them to do? Would you want them to take the running back that they have a 1st round grade on, or take somebody that they have a 2nd round grade on because they think they can get solid running back options later because of the depth?
I am really torn here. I'm really, really torn because I've seen them get super excited about a running back at almost exactly this pick because of his pass catching prowess and what they thought he would add to that element of their offense. And of course, we know how that turned out. Now maybe some of the personal stuff that was going on, not like in a bad way, but he had the PTSD, which we all have to respect. And he had, Clyde Edwards-Helaire had quite a few injuries. But I still have a little bit of trauma from that pick, but also kind of like staying there, hanging out there, and going with like a supposedly safe FAU. I don't like that either. The Chiefs have not been good drafters. And what I like that they're doing now is what they did. They've been doing in the 2nd round, but they did in the 1st round last year. They did this minor jump up to get Xavier Worthy. They did a pick swap. Didn't cost a lot of ammo. I just want them to have conviction. Whatever they do, I want them to have conviction. It's hard because that's basically a 2nd rounder. I think Travion Henderson, if they're intent on using kind of Isaiah Pacheco and maybe to a lesser degree Kareem Hunt as like the Thomas Jones type meat shield, then Travion Henderson doing a poor man's Jamal Charles impression would be pretty exciting to me, even if you're reaching a little bit getting him in the 1st round.
Yeah, I just want them to take the best player that they think can help the team. And if it's a running back, I know we all have the CEH trauma and like the poor vet, they're just never going to live that down until they take another 1st round running back and he's actually good. Then everybody can relax about that. But, if it's a running back, take a running back. Like, we need to impact players. And if you can't get somebody at your greatest position of need, which is tackle, in my opinion, or you really don't like the defensive interior guys who are available, we're going to talk about in a minute, just take them. All right, let's keep it moving here. Just a quick note, Veach said the goal is to get a long-term deal with Trey Smith. I think that's obvious based on the move that the moves that they made this offseason, so we don't need to hammer that. And just one last news note: the Chiefs tried to get themselves as a fixture on Christmas Day, and the NFL was basically like, no. They were very non-committal to the Chiefs getting themselves to be a fixture on Christmas Day, like the Lions. I'm actually okay with this as somebody who covers the Chiefs. I like to watch football on Christmas Day, but I don't want to have to work. I really like Christmas, and now I have a kid, so like he had no clue what was happening last Christmas, but it's still nice to spend it with him. Now he's going to be, like 1.5 or whatever on. Like, I'm excited to he might have like a clue what's happening, be able to open his presents and stuff. So I don't want to have to be worried about the dang Chiefs. I'm going to be, because they're playing on Christmas again. But every year, no thanks, man. Or what if the Chiefs were a fixture on Thanksgiving? Like, you're trying to eat turkey, and then that's when their game is on, and it's like you're messing it up on the whole family.
Here's a compromise. The Chiefs play every year on Black Friday. Everybody's off from work, right? It still has a little bit of a holiday feel. It's interesting to me that the NFL doesn't want this, because I'd almost think that Netflix would be like, yeah, we want the Chiefs every year. We're paying a metric ton of money for the NFL one day a year. Give us your signature franchise. It's going to draw the biggest ratings.
It's almost as if they don't believe in the long-term viability of the Kansas City market. Screw them. We're just going to have to keep winning and make them eat their words on this one. All right, let's talk draft really quickly here. Just heading into this, Adam, what are the 3 position groups you want the Chiefs to target?
Defensive tackle, definitely defensive tackle. There are 3 guys within striking range that we're going to get to here in a second. So that would be number 1. Number 2, just because of the strength of the class, I think they have to walk away with a running back. You kind of have to. I think the defensive line is great. I would say not just defensive tackle, but also edge. They just need to bolster their defensive line. And then the third, I'd like to say tackle. I worry about this class. I worry about the Chiefs developing tackles. So I'm going to say I'd like to see them bring in another target. Doesn't have to be a wide receiver. This is an extremely good tight end class. Travis Kelce is near the end. Noah Gray, I think, is a competent number 2. We don't know what Jared Wiley is. So they could use another guy there. So those are kind of my 3 top priorities. How do you feel about positional hierarchy there?
Yeah, I'm with you. Defensive interior, just defensive line, period. I know that they have some defensive ends, obviously George and FAU, but look at what the Eagles did to us at the Super Bowl, man. Just go find monsters. Even if they can't be starters, if you could get somebody who's just a great pass rusher, maybe they can't play the run, but they could be a rotational guy that you can get in later rounds. That matters. The Chiefs are really good, as we've seen over the years, at not only finding DBs that can work for them in the draft, late in the draft, but also, I know he wasn't your favorite Chief of all time, but Justin Reed did some really good things for the Chiefs, particularly in run support. They liked him. He fit well with some of the things that they wanted to do, even maybe if he had some coverage issues and things of that nature. So I feel like I'm confident they'll be able to keep that pipeline going. I mean, even last year when they kind of struggled and had some injuries, I think they still got by okay with what they wanted to do, but they couldn't get enough pressure. They've done a nice job with linebackers. So give me defensive interior, defensive end. And I'm with you. Get weapons for Patrick Mahomes. They should be drafting receivers, running backs, and tight ends every year because you just don't know. Last year, I think we all went into the season feeling great. Oh, we got Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice is there. And man, life comes at you fast. Rashee Rice gets hurt, and all of a sudden we're just with Juju Smith-Schuster's back in the equation. When they re-signed Juju Smith-Schuster, we were all kind of like, oh, yeah, no, you have the depth. And now and then he's blowing, showing up for us in a playoff game, but that's not what anybody wanted. Nobody wanted that to happen when the season started. So,
there's another reason why you do that. And I think whenever you bring up the Chiefs should draft another receiver in the first 3 rounds, people are like, what? That's an overallocation of resources. They have Rashee Rice. They just drafted Xavier Worthy. Well, the reason why you do this is because there's a surplus of receivers. This isn't a very good receiver class, but if you draft them every year, the Chiefs have determined that they're good at finding them. And this way, you don't have to pay a receiver 20, 30, 35 million. So you can spend that money on positions that are harder to find, like tackle, like edge, like a Chris Jones. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, if you want to trade for somebody, like when they traded for Orlando Brown Jr., they give a premium draft pick for that. Well, they won a Super Bowl. And you're right. Like, look at where Amon-Ra went. He was a second-round receiver. Is that right?
Fourth.
So, you like DK Metcalf went in the second round. Like, you can find these guys. Rashee Rice.
McLaurin, third.
Terry, Scary Terry. They missed on Sky Moore. Okay, it sucks. They're going to miss on some of these guys if they're not. If you're taking guys in those later rounds, it means they're not sure things. There's a higher degree of risk. But you're right. At those positions, at those skill positions, get very expensive. If you can keep a pipeline of talent going in there, and then you can then you could be looking at your team, you're like, we're in pretty good shape here. Why don't we just trade this first round pick for, as you put it, right? Like a proven veteran. That's a great strategy in Dynasty if you're playing, Dynasty fantasy. Right? Like you could be doing those rookie drafts and trying to get guys there, or you could take those draft picks and be like, hey, I'm just gonna keep Bucky Irving instead of trading Bucky Irving for a guy who might turn into Bucky Irving. So it's just one example because I was talking to you about Bucky Irving, about potentially trading you Bucky Irving. I don't think I'm going to do it now, by the way.
That's pretty clear.
Yeah. So, let's keep it moving here. We talked about those defensive tackles. There's three guys, Derek Harmon, Kenneth Grant, and Walter Nolan. Do you have a favorite among that group that they all seem like they could be guys that could be available around when the Chiefs pick?
It depends on what your risk tolerance is, because Derek Harmon, I think he's a surefire hit. But the ceiling of Walter Nolan, he has kind of these Godzilla, Chris Jones reps that just blow you away when you watch him. But other times he just seems to, not really know what he's doing out there, not have a plan, kind of disappear during stretches. Kenneth Grant, I think I like the other two better. I don't think Walter Nolan is going to be there. I know they're like the character concern stuff. When you have that kind of ceiling, someone's got to take a chance. So I think if they want Walter Nolan, they'd have to go up and get him. So, and I'm worried that none of the three will be there at 31. That's my big worry, because if you look at big boards, like if you look at Dane Breuer's big board, I think Harmon is at 31, but I don't know. I don't think he's going to make it that long. Do you think any of them are going to be there?
It's hard to say, man. You just don't know when the run is going to happen. So if for example, everybody, there's not a lot of great quarterbacks in this draft, but I've heard reports that some people think 3 could go in the first round. If everybody waits on running backs because one first round running back's expensive, injury risk, depth, we can wait until later, then you could see a run happening on defensive interior guys, because this is a deep class and you think you can get some top end guys. I think if all those guys are gone, this is the homer in me coming out. I would look at Tyleik Williams from Ohio State. He's been well graded. Lance Zierlein on NFL.com has him as a second round draft pick, calls him a drain clogging run defender with a violent first contact and nimble feet and impressive tackle production. Like he was great for Ohio State. So, and played in big games, on the biggest stages, won a national championship. So he's a guy that could be there. And if he is, snatch him up, put him next to Chris Jones. They need depth at that position so badly.
You can land a good player at this position in this draft in round 2 at 63, at 66, at 95. I don't think this is a position where they need to press if it doesn't fall to them. And I know I said I don't expect any of those 3 guys to be there, but last year, Johnny Newton out of Illinois, who I loved, was dealing with some injury stuff. I didn't think he was going to get out of the first round or get to the Chiefs. He ended up going like number 35 to the Commanders. So you just never know. There are some, like last year, more quarterbacks went than we thought that, would go in the first. If that happens with running backs this year or even quarterbacks, that's what we should all be rooting for, is more quarterbacks and more running backs. We don't want to be sitting there at pick 29 and we're like, oh no, even Shadur Sanders is not going to go in the first round. Like, this is not going our way.
Yeah. All right. One last question for you on the draft in the interest of time. The Chiefs draft will be a success if. Finish that sentence.
They have to find immediate depth for the defensive line. They're just asking right now too much of Chris Jones and need to get him more support. So that is the first objective. The second is they have to find some explosiveness at the running back position, not just as a rusher, but primarily as a receiver. And then what would the next thing be? I'd like to see them find one either tight end or wide receiver who can come in and get reps as a rookie. For me, I just don't expect a lot from the Chiefs at the tackle position in the draft. I'm kind of like waving the white flag. Maybe that's a chicken shit move, and that's your barometer for success. But those are the things I'm looking at.
I think that's right on. And I'll use an analogy here that, funny enough, I used with my team here at Fansided on a totally different matter today. And it just seems to be a really good a good analogy for me to use for a couple of different things this day. When I was in elementary school, we had a student teacher, and she came in and she did something fun for us around Easter time, which it's around Easter time right now. She's like, I'm going to do an Easter egg hunt. And the school was had like a big backyard, and it butted up against some woods, and there were a few trees and stuff there in the yard. And so she's like, we're doing an Easter egg hunt, and there are prizes inside, candy and stuff. And so she opened the door and she let us out, and we all ran out looking for the Easter eggs. And as soon as I went out, I saw like a bunch of Easter eggs just sitting in the grass. Right. And I was thinking in my head, man, I bet there's nothing good in those Easter eggs. Like I'm going to go and look for the ones that she hid that are harder to find, because I bet those are the ones that have like the high value, like rewards in them. So I was like walking along the tree line and looking under rocks and stuff. Well, she's like, it's time to go back in. I didn't have an Easter egg. I didn't find one. Like, we were elementary school kids. She didn't hide. She just put them out in the grass, and everybody else ran and grabbed Easter eggs. And we went back inside. And every kid in the class was eating candy, and I was just sitting there. I felt horrible because I overthought it. I was like, I'm going to get this. I'm going to find this diamond in the rough. Literally was looking for a diamond in the rough. I found nothing. Instead of just taking what was there. What was there was clearly obvious for me to take. And I think that's a great strategy for the Chiefs in this draft. As much as I want them to find a tackle, and I hope that they know something I don't, the defensive interior guys are there. The running backs are there. Take what's there. Take good players. Don't go crazy thinking, well, if we don't find a tackle and do a panic move or go looking in the tree line and end up with nothing at the end of the day, because that's what could happen, and that would just add to the Chiefs' problems. They don't have that many, but it would add to them.
It made me think a lot. Last year, I was super high on Tyrone Tracy. He was my favorite running back in the class. He went extremely late. I don't know. I think it was 5th round or something like that. I really wanted the Chiefs to take him. And because he hit, now I think I'm a wide receiver idiot because I didn't do very well in that position last year, but a running back savant. And I think like, oh no, I know the guys that are going to hit in round 4 or 5 and 6.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't, Brett Veach doesn't, nobody really does. And the longer you wait at positions, the probability just dips. That's the way this works. So there is definitely some merit in just, hey, let's just take the sure thing, regardless of position.
Yeah, this is a good roster, so adding good players to it gives the Chiefs flexibility to try to do other things. So Joshua says, must be a tough time of year for you, Patrick. Yeah, you ain't kidding, man. All right, let's get to the draft picks that the Chiefs have. I just want to recap those for everybody again. The Chiefs have number 31 overall in the first, in the second, number 63, in the third, number 66. Thank you, L'Jarius Sneed. So, the Chiefs pick at the end of the second round, 63rd. They're going right again pretty soon, shortly thereafter, 3 picks later at 66. And then they have their own third rounder at number 95 in the third round. So that's 4 picks in the top 100 players for the Chiefs. That's great. Then they have their fourth rounder, number 133 overall. And then it's a long wait until round 7, where they have 3 picks. Number 226 overall, which they got from the Carolina Panthers. Number 251 overall, which is a compensatory pick. And number 257, Mr. Irrelevant. So that's what you're looking at next week, unless things change, and they often do. So you need to make sure you tune in right here to the Arrowhead Addict YouTube channel so you can watch our live draft show, because we don't know when the Chiefs are going to pick. So we'll be on the whole time. Price Carter, Adam, me, we'll be here giving you analysis on everything the Chiefs do. All right. So listen, remember, I told you there's a very special announcement. It's important. It's about a 22-minute announcement. We're going to talk Chiefs football as well during that announcement. So the Chiefs talk is not over. Normally, we reserve our movie thing for the very end for you folks that want to listen to Chiefs talk. You don't care about the extra stuff. This is a pre-recorded thing. We're running it after the show. We're recording live. So if you don't care about listening to me and Adam talk about movies for 15 minutes, fast forward and find the part where I'm doing the special announcement. That's if you're listening to this or watching this later. But let's get into it. Patty's Power Rankings. And listen, you want to stay for that announcement. You don't want to miss it. Okay. Patty's Power Rankings. Favorite movies from the year they built Arrowhead, 1972. This is, I think, as far back as we've gone so far. I don't think we've gone into the 60s yet. 72. It's an early one. Why don't you kick us off with number 3, your favorite? What? Not your one of your favorites from the year, not necessarily the best.
I kind of felt like this was a brutal year, right? Usually, I'm fighting to trim down from 6 or 8 or whatever, and this year is a little tougher to get to 3. So at 3, I picked The Getaway, directed by Sam Peckinpah. It's kind of like this crime chase heist movie with the king of cool, Steve McQueen and Ali McGraw. Good hang, good watch. I wouldn't classify it as one of my favorite films, but I've watched it quite a few times. Anytime I see it on or something or think about it, I'm like, yeah, I really dig that one. So The Getaway.
It's an interesting year. Not a ton of great movies, but some interesting movies. Some movies that got remade and that were better when they were remade. But there's some interesting films here as well. Number 3 for me, I'm a theater guy. I had to go with Cabaret. I'm not a huge musical guy. I mostly did straight theater, but Cabaret is one of my favorite musicals and just favorite pieces of theater of all time. If you don't know much about it, or if you are used to seeing musicals like Chicago and Annie Get Your Gun, Cabaret is a little bit different. It's much more of a dramedy, I would call it. It's lighthearted and fun, but with a very, very serious overtone. Basically, it's set in Berlin just before the Nazis start to take over. And so it's actually very upsetting and sad in many ways, but it's set in this sort of like bohemian center at a cabaret called the Kit Kat Club, and it's very fun and the music is very good. But it's a tremendous film. Liza Minnelli, Joel Grey, who played the MC role on Broadway. It's a must watch. It's not my favorite adaptation. My favorite is the Broadway revival in 1998 that starred Alan Cumming and Natasha Richardson, who tragically passed away. It gives one of my favorite performances of all time in anything in that revival. But yeah, definitely check out Cabaret if you're not familiar. Even if you're not like a theater person, it's a really fascinating, interesting story.
Indeed. Number 2 for me, we're going to travel to Spain. And if you guys are familiar with the surrealist painter Salvador Dali, you probably are. He had a good friend who was a surrealist, but for movies, for films. And his name was Louis Buñuel. And he made a pair of movies about weird dinner parties. In 1962, he did The Exterminating Angel, which was all these guests sit down at a dinner party and they can't leave. 10 years later, 1972, he does The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie. And that is a dinner party that just can't happen. No matter what the guests try to do, the dinner just never, ever happens. You have to be in the right kind of mood. This is like art house kind of out there stuff. But
sounds like Waiting for Godot.
Yeah, it's kind of got it definitely has a Waiting for Godot type vibe, but I really dig his flicks most of the time.
Very cool. All right, number 2 for me is look, this is a rough watch. I always try to sneak in a horror film if I can. This one is like pretty much Wes Craven's first film. Wes Craven, he wrote and directed A Nightmare on Elm Street. That was really his like big break. The Hills Have Eyes before that, The People Under the Stairs, and of course he directed Scream. He did not write that, which some people get confused about that. It's called The Last House on the Left, and it is a very, very. I'm just gonna a trigger warning for some people out there. That the movie involves sexual assault. It's a very graphic film, and it's a revenge movie. So a young woman is raped and murdered in this film, and the culprits who do it end up staying over at her parents' house. They end up seeking refuge overnight at the parents' house. They don't realize it's the parents until after they're kind of there and they're staying. And then the parents find out what happened and find their daughter's body and take revenge on these people. And it's like, if you like those kinds of torture porn movies like Saw and, the Hostel movies, this is a precursor to that. It was incredibly controversial. It was banned in the UK, and a lot of theaters refused to show it. People walked out, demanded that it be not shown anymore. So it's very graphic. It's not for the faint of heart, but it's very realistic and disturbing. And if you like revenge, I guess there's no nice way to portray some of the things that happen in this movie, but I think it's looked upon in a much more favorable light than it was when it came out. When it came out, people were like, "This is trash." Some people would still call it trash. I don't agree with that. I think we know enough about Wes Craven's career now to understand that he is an auteur, and he was trying to say something with this film. He wasn't just trying to make smut, which is, some people can't get past gore and violence to see why it's being depicted in the way that it is. So it's worth a watch. It's a very important film in the history of horror.
I've seen it. I think some people think it's a snuff film. I do not. I agree. I'm a Wes Craven fan. So we're in alignment there. It is a hard watch. And as I get older, I find myself gravitating more and more away from rewatching movies that are hard watches. I can only kind of stomach them once now. I just don't have the ability to take that gut punch, that cinematic gut punch that I could take when I was in my 20s and 30s. Number one for me, I'm sorry, man, I hate to do it. Usually we don't pick the same one here. We want to feature more movies for the discussion.
Sure.
With a week, like we have a week draft class in the NFL. This was a weak movie class to draft from. And I had to take The Godfather first overall. Just one of the greatest and most influential movies ever made. I do prefer The Godfather 2 to The Godfather 1, but it's a razor close margin. All the performances are wonderful. You have James Caan and Robert Duvall, one of the greatest living American actors, and Brando and Pacino. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on The Godfather and its impact?
Yeah, we couldn't not go with The Godfather. I was glad that you picked it, because we do try to go away from each other, and it's just too good, man. It's just such a fantastic watch. The acting's incredible, the way that it's shot, the music. I actually am really impressed with the film and its pacing. It's very deliberate in its pacing. It does not rush. It takes its time. It's amazing. I can't remember how Brando was. Like he was much younger than the character he portrayed in the movie. He's an absolute genius. It's iconic at so many levels, and then it delivered an even better movie for the sequel. So it's just a fantastic film, and as you put it, not the best year. So yeah, you can't. I might watch it tonight. I'll fall asleep 5 minutes in because the kid, but I it's never a bad time to watch The Godfather.
Leave the gun, take the cannoli, right?
Take the cannoli, indeed. All right, everybody, listen. It's time for our really important, really special announcement. So we're gonna say goodbye, and we're gonna roll the tape. But I just want to say, I'm really excited about this. I think it's gonna be a great addition to the channel, and so stick around for the announcement and some rapid fire Chiefs talk as well. And we'll catch you guys next week for the NFL draft. Enjoy. Hey, everybody. As I mentioned, we have a little bit of a special announcement on today's show. Apologies for it not being live, but we all got jobs and stuff. So sometimes we have to record things a little bit early to make sure that we get you guys the content that you're looking for. So I'm really excited about this. Since the Arrowhead Addict podcast started, back when it was just me and Verderam doing an audio version, we always had grand designs to continue to expand the channel, make it bigger, add new hosts, add new voices to our little mini Chiefs kingdom that we started here. And we've done that over the years with Matt Connor and Sterling Holmes and the guys in the Intangibles and Adam Best and bringing him back. It's been a lot of fun. We want to keep pushing it. We want to have a lot of programming for you, especially on the YouTube channel. And that means we want to continue to survey the Chiefs landscape and look for really talented Chiefs analysts and fans that kind of fit what we do here at the Arrowhead Addict podcast, so we can bring you some more voices. And we're doing just that. I'm really, really excited. We've had Lexi Osborne on the show a couple of times. You guys have gotten to know her. Well, I'm thrilled to announce that we're going to be bringing the Kingdom's Queens to the Arrowhead Addict channel. Like I said, we want to expand our offering for you. They have a really great show on their own YouTube channel, and they've been providing really great opinionated Chiefs coverage for a couple of years now, I believe. So we're gonna run a test with them. They're gonna join the channel. They're gonna be going live on the Arrowhead Addict channel on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Central, starting next Wednesday. We're really excited about this. They're going to help get you ready for the draft on draft eve. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited. And we're going to bring them on right now. The Kingdom's Queens, Lexi and Jody. How you doing, y'all? We're really excited to have you here at Arrowhead Addict.
Hi. We're so excited to be here. I know that this is a partnership we've been working on for a few weeks now, and I'm glad that we can come together and be one big happy family.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We are so excited to join you guys. So thank you for having us.
Yeah, and look, like I said, these guys, they've got their own show that's going to continue over on the YouTube channel. So you need to make sure that you're following them on YouTube. Fantastic content. But what we're going to do is they're going to start doing a show here on the Arrowhead Addict channel. It's very exciting. And look, this is the reason we created Fansided, or well, I didn't create it, but the reason Fansided was created and the Arrowhead Addict was created was to give a voice to the fans. That's what we do here. And so, as we continue to try to improve the Arrowhead Addict product and the offering and the voices that we have for you all, we're surveying the landscape, and we see there's a ton of really great Chiefs content creators out there. And so to be able to have the opportunity to bring our audience to y'all's audience and highlight what you're doing, that's the mission of this company. So it's really, really exciting to add your voices to ours with a show on the Arrowhead Addict program. So for some of our listeners that may not be familiar with you, they don't follow you on Twitter, wanted to do a quick get to know you so they can find out a little bit about y'all's background, where you come from, why you started your podcast and all that. So maybe you could just fill them in on, where you're from, how long you've been a Chiefs fan, and why you guys started the Kingdom's Queens podcast. Why don't we start with you, Jody?
Yeah, so been a Chiefs fan my whole entire life. Not going to say how old I am, but please just know that was a very long time. Yes, very, very long time. So I am back in Kansas City now. I've kind of hopped over to a few different states. I've lived in Chicago. I lived in Dallas, and I'm back in Kansas City now. Born and raised from here. So it's just natural to be a sports fan of everything that's happening in Kansas City. Still a season ticket holder. Go out to all the games when it's freezing cold or when it's burning hot. We'll be out at training camp, and it's just kind of what our routine of what it is we do here when we live here. So very excited to be back in the city, continuing to talk Chiefs football with Lexi. We've been doing this. It feels like I think we're going into our 4th season now. So really excited to do this. We're glad to be here. So
I'm so envious of you all that live in Kansas City and could be season ticket holders. I would 100% be on board if I was there. I would be drinking way too much in the parking lot, but it'd be a lot of fun. But I just have to live through my yearly trips out to KC for a game. Lexi, what about you?
Yeah, same here. I mean, born and raised in Kansas City, same. I moved out to LA for a few years, dabbled in the California lifestyle, but I'm back here in Kansas City as well. And we have a ton of fun going out to tailgates, mingling with the Arrowhead crowds. It's always a good time. But yeah, we've always been Chiefs fans forever. We've been through those losing seasons with our dads and, going through those ups and downs, those roller coasters of Chiefs fandom. But Jody and I thought, well, the Chiefs are having unprecedented success right now, right? And there's no really all-female podcast covering the team. So we thought, let's give this a go. Let's see what happens. And here we are 3 years later, like she said, going into our 4th season of doing this. So super exciting times. The Chiefs are absolutely the best team in the NFL right now. And we're just loving what we're doing and just seeing where it goes. So we're super excited to join you guys over here at Arrowhead Addict.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I don't think people that maybe have never started a podcast understand this. It is so hard to, one, just be as consistent as you need to, and two, actually develop an audience. There's a lot of people out there who start making a podcast, they put out a couple episodes, and that's it. Or they don't market the podcast at all. They're not on social media. They're making that nobody's listening. So it's really remarkable and impressive what y'all have done. I know we've all got, full-time jobs in addition to doing the podcasting stuff. So it's really incredible. I thought it would be fun for a little further get to know you to do just a quick rapid fire Chiefs question and answer. So like kind of like a speed round.
Oh God, I'm nervous.
I want the audience to know a little bit more about your personalities. When we were talking earlier in the week or last week, you're saying, hey, we get a little spicy on our show. That's great. Like that's exactly, that's what we do. We certainly, if you've ever caught some of our post-game shows, man, I think actually the first time that we had Lexi on the show, Sterling and I were screaming at each other for 15 minutes. And she was a super good sport about it. So it was at that point that I was like, maybe we got to get Lexi and Jody involved. I think they're our kind of people. So all right, quick speed round of Chiefs related questions. We'll start each one with Lexi, and then Jody, you follow up and answer as well, and we'll just go run through these. All right, ready? Start the clock. We don't have a clock. Lexi, who's your favorite Chiefs player of all time?
Of all time, God, that's a tough one. You know what? I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna say Derek Thomas. I'm gonna go with that.
I love it.
It's
not a bad answer.
Go with
that. Jody?
Eric Berry.
I love Eric Berry.
Yeah,
that's my guy. I want Eric Berry back, man.
Yes.
He's the first player I interviewed at the draft on the red carpet years and years and years ago. Right before we drafted him. It was awesome. Okay, Lexi, who's your favorite current Chief?
I'm going to be super generic here. It's Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry. It is. It's Patrick Mahomes.
It's not a bad answer either.
That's what I mean.
I'm going to go, if right now going into this next season, I'm going to say Trent McDuffie.
Love it.
Oh, yeah. That's a good sneaky
I clearly got a thing for safety corners.
Yeah.
DBs. She loves the
secondary. I don't know what it is.
All right. What about receivers? Lexi, who's your favorite Chiefs receiver of all time?
Of all time? God dang. I'm going to go Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill. Yeah.
I mean, he's incredible. So, yeah.
There's not a lot to say about that, but yeah.
Not a bad answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jody?
I'm going to go Dante Hall.
Oh, yeah. The X factor.
Yes.
Absolutely.
To add to that, Dante Hall is who got me into Chiefs football. Like, that's where I really got invested. So Great.
Yes.
Anytime I'm feeling down, I pull out that clip of him juking like 4 Broncos defenders, and they all run into each other. One of my favorite all-time Chiefs moments.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. If you could tailgate with any Chiefs player, past or present, who would it be, Lexi?
Past or present? Oh my God. I'm gonna go with our guy, Jody. I'm gonna go with our guy, Creed Humphrey.
Yeah.
Now,
like a good.
Jody and I have had the pleasure of meeting him a few times at Boulevard events over this past year, and he is just an awesome dude. Would love to put back a few beers, talk some football, grill some steaks. Yeah, Creed Humphrey. That's
the whole thing.
Yeah.
I love it. Jody?
I gotta go with the party boy. So I'm gonna say Travis Kelce.
Okay.
Bring Travis to my tailgate. He's gonna be on the mic singing. He's gonna be throwing back beers. Bring Travis.
Yeah.
Just turn it
Good
up.
call. That's a good call. I will say I beat Creed Humphrey at something at the Super Bowl on media night. I challenged him. To a game of rock, paper, scissors, and I defeated him. And there's video evidence. So the only athletic, I don't know, is it athletic? The only feat of any kind that any competition that I'll beat Creed Humphrey at. At least I have that.
It's a sport.
You can have rights to that. Yeah.
It's a sport.
Had to move my body to make it happen. We'll take it. Okay. Who would you pick, Lexi, to have your back in a bar fight? Which Chiefs player?
Like current Chiefs player?
You could be anybody, I suppose.
God dang. The all times are what's throwing me. Let's put a fun one out there. Let's put like Willie Roaf out there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's who I want to tailgate with, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. That too.
Willie.
Yeah. Him having my back in a bar fight. Absolutely.
Exactly. You'd be okay. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Jody.
I think I would go bar fight. Okay. I would probably go either like a Neil Smith or like a
Trey Smith.
He can clearly push a car and
just have the Smith brothers. Yeah.
I know. I'm like, if I had to go back in the day, it would be like a Neil Smith. If it had to be present, it would definitely be like probably Creed or Trey.
Right.
Yeah.
Creed or Trey. Yeah.
They're both on my list. I'll tell you.
Yeah. I feel like they will make sure I don't get on the ground. So I'm
yeah, absolutely. Okay. Who is your what was your all-time favorite Chiefs game? Lexi.
That we've attended or just watching?
Just in general. Favorite Chiefs game.
Man, there's so many. I'm gonna go with maybe more of like a sentimental. Well, I don't know. I would say the game that got us to our first Super Bowl, which was the Tennessee game, right? Where Patrick just showed everything he could do, had that amazing run. It was that first game we really knew, like, okay, we're in for something special with this kid. Like, this is the draft pick. Yeah, I think, and then into that Super Bowl win, I think both of those things were just unbelievable. Yeah. As a Chiefs fan, like, I mean, it only gets better from there, but like, yeah.
I bet Titans fans are still having nightmares about that.
For sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Jody?
For me, it's going to be the 13-second game. I was at Arrowhead in the suites when all of that chaos happened, Chiefs Bills. So I remember that game like it was yesterday. Arrowhead was rocking. It was the loudest like I've ever heard it be. When I still like sit back and watch that game, I'm like, how the hell did we even get in this situation in the first place? And then how did we dig ourselves out of it? I don't know. That game was just truly like incredible, especially on top of like the season that we were already having. And then for them to go literally down to the last seconds of the game, I was like, yep, we're definitely winning the Super Bowl this year. So,
and then we didn't.
And then we didn't. It's okay. It was a lot of excitement at the 13. I think even when you go to Chiefs games now and you see people tailgating in the parking lot, when we play against the Bills, it's like Every Bills fan travels here too. You see the Chiefs fans that wear the jerseys that say like 13 seconds on the back. It'll say seconds and then 13 is the number. And I'm like, really? Are we those fans? We are definitely those fans.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I was at the game during the first Super Bowl run when we came back against Houston, and I've always likened that game to.
I was gonna say that one next.
Yeah, I've always likened that game to. It was like being at a funeral where the corpse jumped out of the casket and was like, "Psych, I'm not dead." Like that's what it was like at Arrowhead, and I thought this is the greatest sporting event I'll have ever been to until I went to the 13 seconds game. And I was sitting next to a box with Josh Allen's family and friends in it. We were like right next door. Oh man, we were like looking at them. We didn't know who they were until we got home and we saw the clips of his dad. Like we were looking at them the whole time. We were cool. We weren't talking too much trash. Yeah. But like Jody's right, man. Like it was insane. I couldn't sleep. Nuts. I was up till 4 a.m. watching the game over and over again. It was absolutely incredible.
I didn't even go to that game.
The parking lot until because no one left the stadium.
No.
So trying to leave Arrowhead was like a joke. We didn't get out of there for like 2 hours.
The amount of cursing that you heard and like the exclaims of like how on the F did that just happen? Absolutely wild experience. Okay. 2 more here. What is your favorite game day superstition or ritual? Do you have a superstition? When I was in junior high, I used to get all of my Chiefs stuff and put it around the TV, like my little like Chiefs helmets and stuff I would like decorate and set up. So do you guys have anything like that you do, Lexi?
Do we? Yes.
I'm like, I can't say mine, but I'll give like an example.
One of them I shouldn't say. No. One that I think Jody and I both do that I'll put out there is funny. We will both leave our Christmas trees up until the Chiefs like lose
the Super Bowl.
So it's either like because basically with Patrick Mahomes, it's either AFC Championship overtime or Super Bowl. Yeah. So since then, it's been like my Christmas tree's up till like pretty much February. So that's one. I would say so. That's a funny one. I would say. Every week of the regular season, this is one of my like personal ones. Every game week of the regular season, I will not wear the opposing team's colors, going down to my underwear and socks. Yeah. I will not wear if we're playing the Chargers, I will not wear blue or yellow. Like I will not wear jeans. I will I go to like all like I won't do it. So that's
I love it.
Yeah.
It's hardcore.
So me and Lexi, there was about 2 seasons straight, which we didn't really do it last season. So it makes a lot of sense why we didn't win the Super Bowl.
I know what you're going to say.
We always take shots right before the game starts. And we didn't.
We didn't. I know we failed.
Guys,
it was us.
You can blame us for the Super Bowl loss at this point.
That's rough.
It was rough.
At least,
I'm sorry.
At least we know how to correct it.
Yes, it was us. And then, of course, I have to wear red undergarments every game day, or we don't win. So I'm like,
we all have to do our part.
Yeah. It takes everyone. Okay,
gotta go wash clothes, guys. Be back.
Yeah. There was a minute there, a couple of seasons where anytime we were playing the Bills, I would change my last name on Twitter from Allen to Mahomes, and
That is just hilarious.
Thing you got to do. I didn't want to put any bad juju on.
Can we add that Josh's middle name is Patrick, which I love.
I know it's a very strange situation that I'm dealing with over here.
It really is.
Yeah.
You're Patrick Allen. He's Joshua Patrick Allen.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Last one. What is your bold prediction for the 2025 season? Lexi, you're on the spot.
Bold prediction. Oh, I don't know. Okay. What's bold? Because this team only knows like Super Bowls at this point. I'm going to say our wide receiver room is going to exceed expectations. I don't know if that's necessarily bold, but I think they are going to come together and be a really good unit. And I think Hollywood Brown is going to have his time to shine. I think Rashee Rice is going to be good from his injury. go all out, do what he was doing with Mahomes last season, barring whatever suspension he gets. I don't know. And then I think Xavier Worthy, I think he's due for a big second season. And then Juju, I love the depth of him. I think Nico's going to have his moment. Yeah, I'm really excited for our wide receiver room. So,
all right. I love it. Sign me up for that. Jody?
My bold prediction, which I haven't even said this on the regular Kingdom Queens show yet. I think the Chiefs lose 2 division games. I think we lose 1 to the Broncos, and I think we lose 1 to either the Chargers or the Raiders. It's probably going to be like the Raiders, believe it or not. But we still win the division and go to the Super Bowl.
I'll take that. I'll take a loss. Let those guys have their regular season Super Bowl as long as we get the
division has been working so hard to beat us for like the last several years. And I feel like they're finally starting to get those pieces in place, but that doesn't mean that we still don't win the division. So
yeah, fair. Mine is that I don't know. I don't feel like this should be bold, but I think given the way things have gone the last couple of years, it is. Mine is that Travis Kelce has over 1,000 yards receiving. I think he's gonna come back man on a mission after that Super Bowl. I think everybody thinks, his targets are gonna go down. I think he's gonna. I think what Lexi proposed is gonna come to fruition, and I think that the threat of all those other guys, Travis is just going to be eating. He's going to have his moments a few times a game where he can just get behind the defense and wreak havoc. So that's mine. All right, guys, this is so much fun.
He's back to training, and he's back to doing.
Yeah,
his thing. I think I agree. It's like revenge season for. He's
gonna have that rebound. That like my career's over, numbers started to decline, and that one more great season, whether they win the Super Bowl or not. I think he's going to ball out.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Lexi, Jody, Arrowhead Addict, evening show, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. starting next week. Before that, you got to make sure you're already, of course, subscribed to the Arrowhead Addict channel. Make sure you head over to Kingdoms Queens, subscribe over there on YouTube. You can get them wherever you get your podcasts. And where can they follow you all on Twitter? What are your handles, Lexi?
I am just my name at Lexi Osborne over on Twitter. And then we're at Kingdoms Queens as well. So follow us both spots. And then Jody.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm super easy too. It's Jody Newsome, IT. Jody Newsome. So that's me on all of my platforms too. So yeah. And you can follow Kingdom Queens on Instagram as well.
Mm-hmm. There you go. There you have it. So listen, guys, you need to make sure you tune in next Wednesday night to watch their show. I expect you all to be on your best behavior. If you're not, these guys ain't scared of you. They'll put you in your place. So you better watch it. You get mouthy in the comments. Guys, thank you so much for hopping on. We really appreciate it. We're all looking forward to you being part of the team and seeing your debut next Wednesday. We'll see you all next week for a Draft Eve preview. Cheers.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.